What if the best way to understand the future is to study what never changes? We spend so much time trying to predict what's next. New technologies, new trends, new disruptions. But the biggest forces shaping life and business are often timeless. Human behavior, fear, greed, and uncertainty. That's the idea behind Same as Ever by Morgan Housel. Instead of chasing predictions, it teaches you to focus on what stays constant, because that's what truly drives long-term outcomes. The book received 4.2 stars on Goodreads, as readers appreciate its timeless insights about behavior, risk, and decision-making. When Warren Buffett makes investment decisions, he does not try to predict the next big trend. Instead, he focuses on timeless patterns like fear and greed. Markets change, technologies evolve, but human reactions remain consistent. That stability gives him an edge over those chasing predictions. The future is uncertain, but human behavior is remarkably predictable. People overreact during crises and become overly optimistic during booms. These emotional cycles repeat across generations and markets. Trying to forecast specific events is difficult and often unreliable, but understanding how people respond to uncertainty provides a more stable framework for decision-making. Focusing on behavior rather than prediction leads to better long-term outcomes. When you understand how people act under pressure, you can prepare instead of guessing. Stability comes from recognizing patterns that do not change, even when everything else does. Continuing from this, Jeff Bezos once explained that he prefers to focus on what will not change in the next 10 years. Customers will always want lower prices, faster delivery, and better service. By building Amazon around these constants, he created a strategy that remains relevant despite changing technology. Trends move quickly. New tools, platforms, and ideas appear and disappear. Chasing them can lead to short-term gains, but often creates instability. What is popular today may be irrelevant tomorrow. Principles, however, remain stable. Human needs, preferences, and behaviors change slowly. These constants provide a reliable foundation for long-term decisions. Focusing on principles creates durability. Instead of reacting to every new trend, decisions are guided by what consistently matters. This approach reduces noise and increases clarity. Over time, stability becomes a competitive advantage because it is built on what does not change. Bit to remember. Focus on timeless behaviors, not unpredictable trends. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, most investors were caught off guard. Markets had been stable for years, confidence was high, and risk seemed low. Then, almost suddenly, everything collapsed. The biggest danger was not visible when it mattered most. Risk often hides during good times. When things are going well, people become comfortable. Caution fades and confidence grows. This is exactly when exposure to risk quietly increases. The problem is that risk is not always obvious. It builds beneath the surface while conditions appear stable. By the time it becomes visible, it is often too late to react effectively. Understanding this changes behavior. Instead of assuming stability equals safety, it encourages constant awareness. Risk is always present, even when it cannot be seen. Preparation matters more than prediction, because uncertainty never disappears. Continuing from this, Ray Dalio often reminds investors that uncertainty is permanent. Markets change, economies shift, and unexpected events always occur. No model or system can remove uncertainty completely, no matter how advanced it seems. Many people wait for certainty before making decisions. They look for perfect clarity or guaranteed outcomes. In reality, that moment never arrives. Waiting for certainty often leads to missed opportunities or delayed action. Accepting uncertainty changes the approach to decision-making. Instead of trying to eliminate it, focus shifts toward managing it. Preparation becomes more important than prediction. Resilience comes from expecting the unexpected. When uncertainty is accepted as normal, decisions become calmer and more balanced. Fear decreases because unpredictability is no longer surprising. Progress improves when people act despite uncertainty rather than waiting for it to disappear. Bit to remember. Risk never disappears. It only hides when things look stable. When Warren Buffett began investing, his early gains looked modest. There were no dramatic breakthroughs. But over decades, those small returns compounded into one of the largest fortunes in history. The power was not in single decisions, but in consistency over time. Compounding works quietly at first. Small improvements or gains seem insignificant in the beginning. Results appear slow, which often leads people to underestimate their impact or give up too early. Over time, however, those small actions accumulate. Each step builds on the previous one. Growth accelerates not because effort increases, but because results begin to multiply. The challenge is patience. Compounding rewards consistency, not intensity. Those who stick with small, repeated actions eventually see large outcomes. What feels minor today becomes powerful over time when it is sustained. Continuing from this, Charlie Munger often emphasized that time is the most powerful force in investing. Good decisions made consistently grow into significant success, while poor habits, even small ones, can compound into major problems over the years. Time does not judge outcomes. It simply amplifies whatever direction is chosen. Positive actions like saving or learning grow steadily. Negative behaviors like debt or neglect also expand if left unchecked. This makes small choices more important than they appear. Daily habits, repeated over time, shape long-term results. The impact is often invisible at first, but becomes obvious later. Understanding this changes priorities. Instead of focusing only on short-term results, attention shifts to long-term consistency. Time rewards patience and discipline, while it magnifies mistakes when they are ignored. Bit to remember. Compounding turns small actions into massive long-term outcomes. When Elon Musk speaks about markets, he often highlights how investor reactions are driven by emotion rather than pure logic. Prices can rise or fall dramatically based on fear, excitement, or speculation, even when underlying fundamentals have not changed significantly. Humans like to believe decisions are rational, but emotions play a major role. Fear pushes people to sell too early, while greed encourages taking excessive risks. These reactions shape outcomes more than careful analysis. Emotional patterns repeat across time. Markets, careers, and personal decisions are influenced by the same cycles of optimism and panic. Understanding this provides an advantage. Managing emotions improves decision-making. Awareness allows people to pause instead of reacting instantly. When emotions are recognized rather than followed blindly, decisions are taken in equals. Continuing from this, Steve Jobs was known for presenting products through powerful stories rather than just features. He did not simply introduce technology. He framed it as a vision of the future. That narrative shaped how people understood and valued what they were seeing. Humans rely on stories to make sense of complexity. Facts alone are often difficult to process, so the mind organizes information into simple narratives. These stories influence perception and decision-making. The challenge is that stories can distort reality. A compelling narrative can make risks seem smaller or opportunities seem bigger than they actually are. Beliefs are often shaped more by storytelling than by evidence. Understanding this creates awareness. When people recognize the role of narratives, they can question assumptions more effectively. Changing the story changes how situations are perceived, which ultimately changes decisions and outcomes. Bit to remember. Psychology drives decisions more than logic ever will.